Hi, I'm Talisa, the owner of 10x Marketing Consultancy, where we help businesses to 10x their lead generation with content marketing strategies.
I'm Josh from Big Sky Creative. Since 2011, we've been helping brands grow online through creative video content.
And I'm James, and I've worked in audio my whole life, and now I run Sound Media, where we help brands to create amazing podcasts for their business. Together, we want to help you create better content. Welcome to Content 360. Today's episode is all about short form video, which is huge, whatever platform you're using, really. Josh, this is very much your bag. What do we mean by short form video?
So the definition of short form video has changed quite a lot over the last few years. Go back a few years and it would have been anything a few minutes or less. YouTube sees it as 10 minutes or less because they're the king of long format. But I think now that's been shortened down, by people's attention span is shrinking. Let's face it. People probably land on a post and give you maximum 2 or 3 seconds before they've made a judgment and they've gone somewhere else. And then the rise of platforms like TikTok and then Instagram adopting Reels, even YouTube getting in on YouTube Shorts. I think short form content for me now means 60 seconds or less. And I also think it's probably best to use the vertical format as well, just because the majority of people consuming this kind of content are looking at it on the phones.
Yeah, absolutely.
And we're all sat like that. So it's better, rather than being a little square, let's get it vertical, let's keep it under 60 seconds, and try and keep your message personal.
Absolutely.
I'm so bad with this. I'm from that kind of school of people that used to tell people off recording video vertical. I'd be like, no one puts their TV on their wall vertical, do they? But it definitely has changed. What are kind of like the specs for the different platforms then? Because I guess I do produce short form video, but I tend to just do it on LinkedIn, and it does tend to be landscape. So are we talking about vertical for every platform? Can all platforms handle that now?
So when you go on, YouTube, for instance, at the moment they're still piloting it in several countries. So to actually take advantage of YouTube Shorts, it has to be a vertical video, and you have to put hashtag shorts either in the title or the description. Otherwise, it will come up on what YouTube calls the shelf.
I don't actually think I've ever watched. I watch a lot of YouTube. I don't think I've ever watched a short.
They don't tend to come up on your normal when you're just browsing a channel that you might follow already. There's this YouTube shelf that's coming into the app, and some channels have adopted it, and they'll have, if you go down their channel, you've got the latest vlogs or most popular videos, and there'll be the shelf at the bottom as well with their verticals. So maybe try scrolling further into the channels and seeing if they've done anything. So you go on our Ingemells Brothers channel, it's right at the bottom. And we actually did an experiment where we posted a short video every single day for a month. And we did actually see that our engagement and subscribers actually picked up. It was about 50% higher in that month than the previous or the following months. So it is starting to add value to that platform. And then for Instagram, I'd definitely say vertical. It's going on Reels or Stories. You want to fill the phone.
Well, yeah, it does. It fills up your full screen as well, doesn't it?
Yeah, there's nothing more annoying, isn't there, than half your screen's being black and you can't really see it. And then same, even LinkedIn now, from the last episode talking about LinkedIn, they've now got Stories. I think the same, that will predominantly be used and accessed on phones. So I think vertical's the way forward.
I think you can only post a story from your phone at the moment on LinkedIn.
It is all very smartphone centric, isn't it? So what content works then? So what did you do when you did your trial and kind of tested it all out? What tends to work, what doesn't? So
we tried to keep it a little bit less formal, so there was less of this, hi, I'm Josh from Big Sky, that kind of thing, because you've wasted a proportion of your 60 seconds already, and I don't think people really care. They want to get some kind of value out of it, so giving tips on how to get a better picture out of your phone, from our point of view, or showing behind the scenes. So we'd use it to show behind the scenes at a shoot. So they get the long format post, which would be the full vlog of how we shot something or the week in the life of. And then the shorts would be diving into, to get this product shot, we use this light in a certain way. And we found that got more interaction because it was more of a value add to the viewers. It wasn't asking anything from them. It was trying to give something back. And that created engagement. And then the engagement through those posts actually trickled down into the wider profiles, and we started to get more hits on everything because of creating that traction through Reels and Shorts.
Amazing.
I think to me, it kind of feels a little bit intimidating, but actually, when you talk about it, it kind of feels like it's pretty straightforward. How how does this fall into that category of something that's easy to do badly, or does it not matter? Is it better to just do it?
I would say if you're on the fence about whether to try it, I'd just try it. As a videographer, I'm always an advocate of trying to get things in high definition and light it properly, because that's what we that's how we run our business. But in short form, and especially in reels, you've got to think about how are people going to be consuming this. And it's going to be on a phone screen, not on a massive 50-inch 4K TV. So just get your phone out, put the camera facing you, and just start delivering some kind of value-add content and start sharing it, because you really can't go that wrong. And you also, if you don't want to mess up on Instagram, for instance, if you don't want to mess up your grade, your wall, whatever you want to call it, you can choose to share it just to reels and not onto your actual profile.
Yeah.
So then you can start to take advantage of this new area of the platform, but not mess up your current marketing strategy or the aesthetic you've built on your main platform.
I think Instagram, isn't it, like once a video file that you're uploading is over 60 seconds, then it goes like in Instagram TV. And
Yeah.
I feel like I don't feel like they perform that well. Like,
No.
they prefer the real short form, or obviously stuff on your stories as well.
We started sharing some of our vlogs from YouTube direct to Instagram TV, and they pretty much did nothing whatsoever. Whereas you might put a reel on, and whereas a post may get 20 or 30 likes after being on there for a few hours, we were looking at a reel after half an hour and it had over 1,000 views and people were liking it and commenting on it. So we got better interaction through that as well.
Amazing.
I think it's because you've got this scroll culture now. I think people, whether they're at work or sat on the toilet or wherever they want to be, they'll sit on the phone and they'll just scroll through as much content and just take it all in. So I think it's a really great way to bring new people in and to engage them.
Yeah, well, with that, what's your thoughts on adding subtitles into this short form video?
So I think it depends on the platform and depends on who you're trying to get your short form content to. I think on Instagram, for instance, the demographic is usually a bit younger, and part of the Instagram Reels platform is you can add music in app as well. That's part of the experience. So I imagine that people will probably watch a reel on Instagram with the sound on, and maybe the subtitles aren't as needed. And a lot of people don't even use talking. They might just sort of point and put little captions on screen, say 10 tips.
Sophie and my team's done a few of those, and they work well.
Exactly. It doesn't have to be like the whole, this is it word for word. It's just 10 tips to better photography, and then choose your lighting, use your aperture, that kind of thing. But if you're going on to LinkedIn and Facebook, and then definitely into longer format content, then subtitles probably needed, because you may have people using those in the office who don't want to have the sound on.
Yeah.
Would you advocate doing all your video content as short form, or is there a sweet spot between doing some longer form stuff, or is the demand for that is that waning now?
I think it's about hitting a balance.
Yeah.
And it's about hitting a balance across all your platforms as well. So for us, our kind of basic monthly content plan looks a little bit like we create the main focus piece for the month, and that goes on Facebook and YouTube direct. So for this month, we're talking about the product videos. So we've created a Scotch commercial, because it's International Scotch Day coming up. Yeah. So we created this commercial, and that's sort of 30 seconds. That's going to go out on Facebook and YouTube. The long form content is the behind the scenes. How do we shoot this? The tech we use, the lighting, how we decided to create the shots. And then from that, we'll then start to pick out individual tips, and they will become the shorts. So you have your big piece of content, because it's a laborious thing to create. You can't have those daily. It takes a long time. So you hit that as your main content for the month, and then from that, take out your little tips and repurpose it. Because you get way more bang for your buck that way. And that's where I think the real strength of shorts is going to come in.
And then you don't have to think of new ideas for your shorts either, because you're pulling it straight from your big piece.
It sounds like something where it kind of needs someone like you that does what you do to be able to kind of pull all this stuff together.
Yeah, well, I say you can get started on shorts on your own with your phone, but then if you want to build it into a wider marketing kind of strategy, then you've come to someone like ourselves. We can help you put that together. So one thing we do now with a lot of our clients, they'll ask us to do, like say, a brand video, which is 3-4 minutes, and they'll also get a resource folder back with that. So we'll take out any standout moments, any standout shots, any quick tips, and create them a series of shorts, vertical as well, so that they can support that video with the more regular posts across the platforms. Because the last thing we want as a company is someone to the payers to produce a video, they post it once and then
yeah.
it just disappears, and they're like, well, I haven't really got a good return on investment. But by using the different short form videos and different platforms to support your other content, it gives it much more life and creates more interaction long term for it as well.
Okay. I think I'm going to show my age a little bit now. So we've obviously talked about platforms like YouTube, we've talked about LinkedIn and Insta. What about TikTok we've not touched on?
Yeah.
And I know there are businesses that seem to really exploit and use that. I've never really ventured too much with it, but then I still think about platforms like Snapchat, and I'm probably I'm probably way out of date in kind of using that. Do either of you use either of those two platforms? Have much experience of them? I find TikTok a little bit scary, really. It's just kind of like I not ventured into it.
Yeah, see, I absolutely love TikTok, but more from like a personal point of view. I've never used it for business. There was a point where I was like, is it worth, doing some like marketing, like short form little tip videos? And to be honest, I know we've, the three of us have discussed this before, but I'd rather be very concentrated and focus on a couple of platforms and try and stretch myself too thin across all of them. And I knew like LinkedIn, for example, is the best platform for me, so that's where I've put my energy. But yeah, I think TikTok is definitely the driving force towards short form video, because obviously then Instagram then took elements of how TikTok worked for the reels, and it's trickling down in those areas into the other platforms as well when they catch up. But yeah, I love TikTok, and I actually posted my first one like not too long ago, and I was so surprised. The personal one, I was so surprised at how you can just choose a couple of clips from your like media library, and it literally just did it all for me. I thought I'd have to do quite a lot of editing myself, and choose different things. It literally just collected it together, and it from how the transitions worked between each clip, it gave me like 10 songs to choose from which would work the best with it, and I was like, wow, that is intelligent.
Right. I don't think you can overestimate how influential TikTok has been, not just on other social platforms, but even culturally as well. Like it's defining part of modern popular culture, isn't it? In the way films maybe did back in the 80s. There are trends that come out on there, and they're just trickling down into everyday life. And I think maybe the influencers who have millions and millions of followers might be starting to lose their value, because people are now buying into more just genuine people and genuine interactions through this type of content.
Yeah.
There's a statistic, something like 84% of people or more were convinced to buy a product because they saw a video. And I don't think it's this hard selling video. I think it's people using it, sharing their experiences. So for instance, personally, last Christmas, I did most of my shopping was on Instagram. I was going through reels and through stories, and somebody would post something, think, oh, that looks cool, click the link, get it bought, Christmas shopping done.
Yeah.
So to me, that firsthand, I could see how a very quick, easy video can translate for a business into more. But none of that was direct through like a big influencer. It was just like a restaurant in London that I liked started selling off some of their cutlery ware.
Yeah. I think it's amazing how Instagram as a platform started off as just photos, and I would say now more people use it to see video content on the platform than they do photos. Like, I'm less likely to scroll along my feed on Instagram, but when those stories get going, I can't get off. I'm pressing, go, and like it's ridiculous amount of time that I can spend on that, because it's easy to watch. You can be doing other things, listening to it, and it's just so engaging. So I think it works so well for people.
Yeah. Do you think part of the addiction to stories is because they're going to disappear as well?
Yeah, probably.
You want to see what you've been doing.
Let's see what's this person been up to.
People are like inherently nosy, aren't they? They want to know what their friends have been up to, or where have you been for dinner, that kind of thing.
Yeah.
And stories is the way you find that out.
Mm-hmm.
We do also live in quite a consumption-led society now, don't we? Whereby if you've seen something, it's like, right, I've seen it now, it's gone. It doesn't matter anymore. I want the next thing and the next new thing and stuff like that. So, it does sort of make sense that that's the case. Where do you? I think you've touched on some of the stuff that you said, but I'm interested in your opinion on this, Josh. How do you think that things rank in terms of the importance of something that's quite well produced as a short form video against literally just the DIY, handheld piece to camera to your phone kind of thing? Does it matter, or are these formats where either works in its own right?
I think there's still a base level of your video has to be clear, to a fairly high definition, but let's face it, most camera phones can do that. And more importantly, personally, I think if you are going to speak and have audio on the video as well, that needs to be really clear, because the quickest way to turn someone off is to not be able to hear what someone's saying. But you can achieve some really good results with your phone now, and if you spend quite a lot of money or a lot of time on producing a big piece of content, like this is our kind of quarterly or our new product launch that you're doing, it is really important to back that up to get the most out of that video. So taking the time to just put a quick reel on yourself, you can complement each other. It doesn't have to be one or the other, they can work together.
Yeah. Okay. And what about we've touched on Instagram and creating video for Instagram a little bit. So whether this is maybe not particularly talking about creating shorts or reels, but a little bit more about just generally creating video for Instagram. What's kind of best practice with that at the moment? Because it's still, obviously it has to be square, it has to be under a minute. But what are you both finding works quite well on Insta?
Do you want, I'm guessing you'll do it a lot more than I will.
Yeah, I mean, I suppose the majority of the reason we've got a business making videos is because our content ends up on Instagram. So we have a separate company which does wedding videos, and I'm convinced that literally exists so people can put their trailer on Instagram. That is pretty much what it is for. The one thing I probably don't agree with is I don't think video has to be square anymore on Instagram. Because where we class ourselves as filmmakers, we actually post everything in 16:9. Because that's traditionally what films would be in. I think people are starting, because Instagram brought that in a while back, people are more used to seeing different shapes and sizes of content on there now. So I think video is completely fine to just be widescreen, which is great. Then if you've got content on YouTube, you can repurpose across to the platform through Instagram TV, or taking a 1 minute snippet and sticking it out there. Is
there anywhere then there's still a benefit in creating square video, or is that kind of died a bit of a death?
I think it's died a little bit.
I don't think it's a requirement anymore, personally. I mean, if it's a preference, that's fine, but I don't think it's a requirement.
Okay, that's interesting.
Yeah. So what are your top tips then?
So for shorts, I would just say just start posting something. Don't overthink it. It doesn't have to be overly produced. It doesn't have to be really sort of formal. It just be personable. Try and give some value back, and just get something out there and start engaging with other people. Don't just stick it on there as well and expect it to fly away with itself. Actually go on and comment on other people's reels and try and create a bit more of this sort of community thing that's going off. That's tip number one. If you are working with someone like myself on a larger project, your videos that are going to go out for a main marketing campaign, ask about short form content being part of that. How can short form content back up and not replace, but sort of reinforce your messaging in the longer format content and make it part of your posting strategy, so that video doesn't just go out and then disappear in a week.
No, sounds fab.
They're the two main ones for me.
Cool. Good tips. Right, thank you for joining us. You can find all our episodes at content360.fm, where you can also find out more about us, and you can get in touch as well. And we'll see you again next time on Content 360.